Good start. Welcome, everybody, to our new show, Ask the Accountant, the podcast that will be going live each and every Wednesday, live at 8:30 on a Monday, if you want to join us. With me is my co-host, Johann, and today we're going to be basically going through what this podcast is going to be all about. So, Johann, do you want to give a quick hello to everyone?
Good morning. Happy Monday morning. I could get used to this every Monday morning.
Exactly. I mean, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Giving us a chance, mate, more than anything, to have a little chat to one another. I mean, I don't know if there's anything else we're going to gain out of it, but at least we'll be able to have a little chat and see what's going on, and our lovely community as well. So we're going to keep this quite loose today. Today is going to be all about making sure that people understand why we bothered doing this in the first place. So we're going to be talking about why a podcast, what the reasons behind it's going to be. We're also going to explain why we're bothered going live as well, because that's kind of an extra pressure on us all, but it's definitely worth it. We're going to be explaining why us, so give us a bit of backstory about us and our current roles. And then we've got a few bonus questions at the end to ask in. And if people are with us live and talking, then do chat in the question or the question boxes and get some questions over to us if you want, and we'll cover them at the end. So first of all, Johann, why a podcast? What was the reasons behind it all?
Why not? Why not? Because we both keep talking a lot about different things, and I think a lot of people get fed up of listening to us talk about different things, especially my wife. So why not bore the rest of the world at the same rate we bore our partners?
Exactly right. But I think for us, like we've both come back from kind of a bit of a background where we've been going live to the nation, haven't we? We've both done Ask the Expert with Quickbooks, which is a great little foray into the world of going live. And we've both had like really good feedback from it all, haven't we? And both of us have kind of get extra opportunities out of it. And we've both been able to kind of had the opportunity to talk about things that are going on. So I think this is kind of the perfect opportunity for us to just to set the record straight, doesn't it? And give us a chance to talk about what's going on and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, Ask the Expert from Quickbooks during COVID, I mean, that was just an incredible resource to be able to be part of something that delivered half an hour worth of Ask the Expert, literally messages coming in live. It was completely unscripted. We had a tech call a couple of days before to discuss what topic we're going to talk about for 5-10 minutes. And then it was just boof with live questions. I mean, that was phenomenal and a real eye-opener to everything. And especially like this is a very much more relaxed. There's no branding requirements. There's no marketing department telling us what we can and can't say, rightly or wrongly. Yeah, it was a real eye-opener, but I think the value people got from it, I mean, I still meet people today say, I used to watch you on Ask the Expert and stuff. So yeah, I mean, we haven't got the time and resources to put into a daily show, but well, not yet anyway. We'll see how this goes. But a weekly Ask the Accountant, get your questions in. And it's not just about us helping small businesses either. It's about talking about the industry and making people realize that actually it's quite a cool and attractive place to work at the moment. I think there's a stigma about the accounting industry still. Yes, a lot of us have got rid of those shirts and ties and jackets, and you can see that when you go to conferences and stuff that the industry is changing, and there's quite a cool bunch of people out there that go axe throwing and enjoy a good party and will do a dance off on the dance floor in the evenings. But I don't think that's rippling through to potential students and potential accounting entries. So yeah, we just want to show that light, don't we, I think, and just have a broader conversation.
Yeah, and I think podcast is the perfect place for it. I mean, both of us have kind of said on our social channels how much we really like podcasts. It becomes a part of our day, doesn't it? For I think both of us personally, it's when we're walking the dog, you've got your podcast on in the background, and it gives us the opportunity. You start to understand why podcasts become so popular. For me, it was definitely when I was doing commuting back in the day, and that's when I first found the love for podcasting. It was absolutely invaluable to me to stick on a podcast when I drove from A to B each time and keeping myself sane and everything else. But now it's become more of a I'm not just doing it because I have to do it or because it's the only way to keep me sane. I'm doing it because I generally love the idea of, you know, having that opportunity to learn something new, understand something, and they're so varied now. The podcasts are out there, and I think one of our questions when we were thinking about this idea, and we've had this idea for a while, was, you know, is there room for another podcast? Is there? But there always is going to be, isn't there? I mean, people make time for it and bring it through.
Yeah, there's always space for another podcast in my list. Although I'll tell you what not to do. So I fell asleep to a podcast on Saturday afternoon. I sat listening to the Cloud Accounting podcast on the sofa, fell asleep. It had obviously ended, and another one started while I was asleep. And it was one with me on it. So I woke up to my own voice. That was a bit disconcerting. But yeah, there's always space for another podcast. I mean, I deliberately didn't listen to any podcasts yesterday, and I'm holding off today because I know I've got a 4-hour journey on a train to Manchester tomorrow, and I've got another 4 hours back on Thursday, and that's normally where I try and listen to podcasts. And so to have to go without it for a couple of days, I'm having to ration myself, which tells me there's obviously definitely space for another podcast.
Yeah, and I think we can bring something a little bit extra to it as well, in terms of the fact that both of us have, you know, like we said before, we've been on Ask the Expert, we've been on there, we have another podcast ourselves. We're the Quickbooks Chat, no, the Quickbooks Labs, where we talk about all the world of QuickBooks. So we've definitely got that kind of opportunity to kind of build on it as well. And we were going through the structure when we were talking about it and what we can bring and what our aims are going to be and everything else. And I feel like, you know, we will be very similar to other podcasts out there, but we're going to bring our own spin to it. And I think, you know, that will hopefully give the opportunity for people to put it in rotation as well, won't it?
Definitely. I mean, we've got influencers, haven't we? So, you know, we've seen how a corporate podcast is run in the form of Ask the Expert, where you can say this, you can't say that. Oh, that's a bit controversial. Can we cover this news topic? Well, it's a bit political, that type of thing. And then you've got the other extremes. You've got the Digitals and Accruals World team with John, Ryan, and Indy, who are certainly bringing a certain light of comedy and level of banter to their podcast, which is fantastic. I really enjoy listening and being part of that. So yeah, there's a whole spectrum of accounting podcasts out there, and we'll be taking influences and ideas, shall we say, and doing our own thing, but with a bit of influence and direction from them, really.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's where we'll definitely be able to kind of bring some extras to the table with all our, we've said it before, it's you know, our aim of this is to give us the opportunity to bring what we're calling our cool friends in. We want to bring people that we can, you know, not just us to enjoy their banter and enjoy their points, but to bring it over. And also, you know, it's a chance with it being weekly to bring some topical events to it. So we don't want to date this one too much being our pilot, but, you know, normally this will be the conversation topic will be about how, you know, we've got the U-turn of the government at the moment and everything they've announced is all changing again. And I think that's going to be a point where we can actually bring that conversation. And also, you know, we can't emphasize this enough. This is all about you guys as well as the people listening. Like, we're going to give you lots of opportunities to talk and bring your points to it as well. And the start of every single podcast we're going to start with a feedback section, so that if there's anything we got wrong, if there's anything that maybe we missed a point, or if you've got a take on it, then we're going to give you opportunity to talk about that as well. So yeah, we're excited for this. And I think it's been a long time coming, but I think it's definitely something that we're excited to go forward. Why live as well? Yeah, and what was the why did we
live? I think it holds you to account. Like, if you look at my YouTube channel versus yours, Aaron, I mean, you're a much more disciplined producer of YouTube videos. Now, whether that's because you've got the wonderful Lizzie behind you beating you with a stick until you've done something, mine are much more ad hoc and there's no accountability there. Whereas if I turn around on my social media and say, right, every Monday at 8:30 a.m. I'm going to be live, then it holds me to account, because the first thing people will say is, where were you? So yeah, accountability ultimately is the life for the life thing, and I think it just adds a bit more. It's non-scripted. it's a more natural approach. This live can't be edited and produced, and we can't get rid of bits and pieces. Maybe we shouldn't have said that or anything. It is genuine and natural.
Yeah, and we saw the power of it, like we've already said with Ask the Expert, didn't we? It was that opportunity because hopefully we won't have to go through that again. But it was all around the COVID era, and it was all around that fact that there was so many people out there with uncertainty. And the whole idea with Ask the Expert was to give a bit of a comfort blanket. I definitely found that during that first period where even just getting to know the likes of you, getting to know the likes of the other experts, it was almost like every time there was a set time each and every day where we can just all we're all in the same boat, we're all going through the same issues, and we can kind of have that chance. And that's what we want this to build into, that comfort blanket for people. If you are going through the same issues or the same problems, and you've got somewhere where you can talk about it, and it won't just be us every single time. Again, that accountability is we want to be making sure this each and every week. So if me and Johann's not here for a week, then we'll bring on a guest, or maybe there'll be a third guest from rotation and time. And it gives us that opportunity to keep it fresh and always have something to talk about, because the world we live in at the moment, there's always going to be stuff to talk about, isn't there? Let's go through and talk about some form of structure to kind of give people a bit of an understanding of what we are going to be covering on this one. So as I've already mentioned, we're going to be starting off with the opportunity to talk about the fact that we've got our feedback section and go through from there. And then we're going to bring in the news as well and topics and everything there. And I think that's going to be a good opportunity for us, isn't it? There's more than just political or accounting news. We can kind of bring anything else into it as well that we think relevant.
Yeah, and we do QuickBooks Labs, and we are both QuickBooks fanatics. However, we have discussed about being more software agnostic on this podcast. So we will be looking at other things and talking about things in a more neutral way, shall we say. Now, we're always going to be biased. We're always going to have a certain draw to our favorite softwares. But other than QuickBooks, there's quite a bit of variety in our preferences with softwares between the two of us, at least. So that would be really good to have.
Definitely. And it's not just software, it's hardware as well. I think that's one of the bits where me and you are quite unique in the fact that we do, not brag, but we do push the fact that we rely on this piece of hardware and rely on that piece of hardware. And I think for anyone coming in the industry, seeing that and seeing how valuable that can be to clients is so important. And it gives, the clients who are listening and the potential clients that are listening to this as well, it gives them the opportunity to kind of understand why hardware is so important to business and what it is. One of the success we've had on our YouTube channel lately is reviewing EPOS systems and how that can be so important. So, we can talk about those systems and what's new and what's coming and talk about them in more detail. But also we can talk about how we do our setup. How have we got this live setup working and keeping it clean and keeping it tidy and keeping it, to a point where we don't have to worry about it too much. It just works. And I think that's come from experience, and that's come from having to go through the pain of when something doesn't work and then figuring out. Yeah, exactly. And you've said already that you're about to jump on a train tomorrow, and so am I. I'm going the opposite way. But both of us are still going to be working because we have to work. That's part of our role, and we love to do it as well. So we gives us an opportunity to talk about how we manage to work while we're on the go, but not just work, but work efficiently. And it doesn't matter where I am in the world these days. I can still work as efficiently as I can when I'm sat here in front of my main computer and off. And I think that's going to give some really good insights. And we're both, fanatics about other things as well. So, maybe the odd Apple event here and there. We've got one coming up. It gives us a chance to have a chat about it and see how that can affect, day-to-day work and day-to-day thing, and not just us, but our staff as well, and everything that goes with it. So I think we've got some great elements that we can bring to the table there as well.
Yeah, we're not just software geeks, are we? We are hardware geeks. We are the guys that are sat there outside Apple waiting to pick up our latest devices. But yeah, I'm the guy that sits there watching YouTube channels about the leaks for Apple products and stuff. Like, will there be an event? Will there not be an event in October? Who knows? But yeah, but then it's making sure people understand the benefits that we see that brings. So, by using the latest Apple software, we can stream across multiple screens and do all that good stuff. So yeah, it's all good. I think it'd be nice to share some of that.
Definitely. After we've done that, though, if we've gone through our topics of the week and we've gone through the news, and I'm going to be completely honest, especially when we first start this, we may be borrowing the news from certain outlets more frequently than the others. Let's put it that way. When it comes to any news that we need to bring in. So after we've done the news updates, topic of the week, we're going to move over to Q&As. So giving opportunity again for the community to be there, having the opportunity to talk to us either live, as we've got the comments flowing in now. So it's great to see that we've got people in here and bringing people in. And then we've also got the opportunity as well or you will have the opportunity to say, using our link tree that we've posted in the chat, to ask questions there and then, and we can tackle them. And it's Ask the Accountant, so the floor's open. You can ask any sort of question that you want to go forward.
Brilliant.
Awesome. And then we'll have a quick outro and that will round it up. And our aim is that each and every Wednesday you will have a podcast there waiting for you to listen, hopefully into your rotation. And also then we have the opportunity, as we said as well, to go live. We're aiming for 8:30 on a Monday. Some weeks we may have to move that around, but that will be our aim, to move it there for that. All right. Okay, so let's go for kind of being the pilot episode. Let's have a look at what is going to be our main topic for today. And our main topic today is basically why us? Like why should people even bother listening to us in the first place? This is where the retention drops. So I thought the best thing to do would be a bit of a backstory. So Johann, do you want to go first? Do you want to give us a bit of backstory of how you got to be where you are today, how you became the LinkedIn man, as I like to push forward to everyone? So do you want to give a bit of a backstory of what it is and let the listeners know?
Yeah, I mean, I'll try and keep it as short as possible. But before I set up my own practice in 2017, I worked for an outdoor activity company, joined them as a housekeeper, cleaned the toilets, worked my way through into their retail department. They then decided retail and finance, that's the same function really, we'll combine those roles. So I then suddenly learned finance as a finance manager and worked in various locations with them across the UK. And over the 14 years I was there, there's a couple of different buyouts of the company and stuff, and it became more and more corporate and less family orientated in my mind. So it just wasn't the environment I wanted to be in anymore. So I decided I need to look for something else, do something else. And that resulted in me opening up my own little bookkeeping practice, thinking it would just be me and a few clients. That'd be quite nice. We're now looking after, in the last 5 years, we've now grown to 650 odd clients, a team of 15 of us delivering that and making a few acquisitions of different practices as we go, basically. So yeah, and then I enjoy sharing my trips and my insights on LinkedIn, and people seem to react to that and enjoy that, growing an audience there. What about yourself, Aaron?
Yeah, we'll definitely come to that. But I think my favorite part about your LinkedIn journey is the sock story. I think I tune in each and every week just to find out what new socks and what new elements you brought in. Somehow that seems to be how you've got the most amount of engagement, which is
phenomenal. People of LinkedIn complain about LinkedIn not being a professional workplace. If I promote, this is the book I'm listening to at the moment or reading at the moment, I always say listen to, because I'm normally an audiobook fan. I'm slightly dyslexic, so I'm not a fan of sitting there and reading it. It was just a horrible experience as a child. Although what I am doing at the moment is reading along. So I have the audiobook in and I read along, which is going really well, to be fair. And I think that's probably the only time at school I enjoyed it, was when teachers would get someone to read out the book and you read along. But yeah, so I'll promote a book that I'm listening or reading, or both, on LinkedIn. Maybe it gets 1,000 views. I put a post out about different socks I got from a conference, and the whether they're best for summer or winter because of thickness and so on, and 35,000 views. And it's like, well, you're making the beast that you don't want by reacting and viewing these posts. So yeah, it's an interesting beast in LinkedIn. It really is. But it's like all social medias. There's popular stuff, there's not popular stuff, etc. I think the overall message is that I try and get across on LinkedIn is it's not all success. It's a hard job that we do, but there is a lot of good stuff in there, like going and getting all your socks, t-shirts that you need. Like, I don't think I've brought stationery in the form of pens and pads in a long time. I've got plenty of mugs, water bottles galore. I don't have to spend much money on socks. Don't need Christmas present socks because I'm sorted thanks to the conferences. But yeah, it's just trying to show the world of the accountancy world to people that are looking to get into it and make them realize actually it's not all suits and ties anymore. And you know, we haven't got the budget between us to run a suits drama, so this is just another arrow in our quiver of arrows that we can help get that message across with.
Yeah, and surely the most proudest bit of swag that you got is the infamous Cresco cactus as well. You know, one of only however many there are out there that you can proudly put out there. So yeah, it's weird and wonderful, isn't it? The world of swag that you got. And I do love, we've said this before, I do love the fact that you're there showcasing it behind as a wall of wall of excellence almost that's out there. So yeah, it's awesome. So yeah, I mean, I think from definitely kind of looking back and kind of what kind of got my kind of eye from you and how you've kind of got to where you are, I think for me it's been more so the fact that, you know, yes, you were asset experts, kind of where I definitely kind of saw you as the first kind of came to prominence and everything else. But I think it's that relatability, and I think that's where, you know, you're showing the rest of, you know, people who maybe want to go out there and start their own practice out and everything else. It's such a key factor these days, isn't it? If you're going to be talking to clients, especially the clients that we want to talk to, you know, we're not interested in the corporate clients. We want to have clients who are, you know, wanting to set up the business maybe the first time, or they're wanting to, you know, run their family business, or whatever the backstory is going to be. But if you have that relatability, which is what you have and you show so well, I think that's one of the skill sets that is so important these days, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I mean, it's the same for yourself. Like this weekend, I got told off by the wife. She sat watching some drama. Someone's died, and I'm in stitches laughing. What's so funny? She hadn't realised I'd got my headphone in. I was watching your latest YouTube video about how to learn Xero in under a minute. So if anyone's not seen that video, please go and watch it on Aaron's YouTube channel. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it was good fun putting that together. And there's a bit of a backstory as to why I went down that one, but that's for another podcast as well. Okay, let's change tact a little bit then, and let's talk about my backstory in terms of why people should care. So mine all started back in the day when I wanted to be a teacher. So I thought, you know what, teaching's going to be my passion. Let's go for that as a school kid. But then I got the opportunity to do what's called work experience. And I went over to a small accounting firm, and they offered me a job there and then. So, you know, the whole idea of becoming a teacher went out the window. I got the opportunity to get paid to learn how to do things. Never in my life thought accounting was going to be something I'd go into. And that's why I started, small accounting firm. They offered me a chance to do AAT. I went through the AAT qualification, and then I went into ICAW, so become a chartered accountant as well, and really started to enjoy it. And I think for me, I always tell people this, I'd never enjoyed doing VAT returns or anything like that. What I enjoyed was actually that chance to help clients and give them a bit of advice and teach them as well. Like training the software side of things always been geeky in that respect. So back in the day it was Sage, you know, we will say some swear words on here from time to time, and there's one of them. No, I'm joking. But the opportunity for us to kind of, or for me to learn or to teach people on software was always appealing. Then I moved over to a top 50 firm, and part of that top 50 firm role was and at the time analyzing what was going to happen in terms of the world of cloud accounting and what cloud accounting software we should go for. And we created like a little task force, a task team of who, you know, we evaluate all the ones out there and let's pick the one. And we picked QuickBooks at the time. And part of that parcel as well was that we were trying to build more of a digital accountancy firm, and we were trying to build it from there. And for, you know, whatever reason, it never quite successfully worked, but I always felt like there was more to it. And then I got the opportunity to start Bofix, and I already had my own accounting firm, a small one in the background as well. And Bofix was that chance for me to kind of take what I was trying to build in terms of a true digital world, or digital accountancy practice, but actually have the opportunity to build it from the ground up. Instead of it being a traditional accounting firm with this fancy digital frontage, it was, let's just start from scratch, and let's look at all the digital aspects of it in terms of how we retain data and how we work with data and how we, provide bookkeeping services in a little bit of a different manner. And I got the opportunity to build Bofix. And I think one of the stories that we'll keep coming back to, I think, during this podcast for us, is how we both kind of got to almost a similar sort of point, but completely different ways. You and I can't wait to kind of talk to you a bit more about it and get people's insight into it, about the acquisition process and what's worked and what hasn't, where we've gone very much the organic, let's grow it from the ground up and everything else. And both ways of doing it has their pitfalls and their and has had their problems. But I think ultimately, I think it's good to see that, doesn't matter what way you want to build your practice, there are many ways of doing it here. I had the opportunity to work for Quickbooks as well as a trainer, and I jumped to that opportunity, and that's been one of my best kind of passions that I've been able to do. It's almost got me that opportunity to be that teacher that I wanted to do as a kid, and had the opportunity to teach people. So if anyone's been out there, done their core advanced certification, you may recognize me, especially in the days when I used to go around the country and deliver the training in person. But nowadays it's all about the webinars and the self-help and bringing it from there. And that's where it came to me, the opportunity, like Johann, to go on to Ask the Expert with Quickbooks. I got to do the pilot episode where I was talking about how this thing called furlough was going to be really furlong, was going to be the new thing. And I was explaining to everyone how furlong was going to be implemented and all this, that, and the other. And then we kind of grew from there. And that's where I started the YouTube channel as well. And I think that's been probably one of the single biggest kind of changes or success stories we've had, definitely as a firm, because it just gave us that opportunity to talk about what we like and build that confidence with clients. And I think throughout this series and throughout this webinar, we'll definitely dive into that more later down the line in terms of why social media is so important to accounting firms now, and when it brings it from there. So yeah, I'm loving the fact that we've got this opportunity to talk to people on a regular basis and to give our concepts. And as we've already said, bring in some cool friends of ours who can talk about it as well. We've already got some guests already lined up, and I'm looking forward to bringing them in as well. So, Johann, from your point of view, what would you say is your current role then? Tell people like what it is you do on a day-to-day basis.
My day-to-day basis can vary dramatically. 1 minute I'm shooting down to London to go and talk to the sales team in Quickbooks and loving life and attending the Accountancy Excellence Awards. The next day I am getting stuck in doing bookkeeping and VAT returns because I've got a team member off ill. As the leader of the organisation, I have to fill any role that needs doing. I suppose the main importance of my role is strategic planning, long-term planning. I have to make sure my team have got the tools and the know-how to do what they need to do to support our clients. So a lot of accountancy firms have these goals and visions that are very client-orientated. Ours is very much about building a team of excellence, because we know with the team of excellence, that will deliver excellence to our clients. So yeah, it's my role to structure that, to maintain that, to train that team, and to develop them into the best team that we can have, really, whilst also keeping an eye on growth. We do a bit of organic stuff, but acquisitions is a big thing for us at the moment. We've done a few big transactions recently, and we're always looking for more. And just doing the acquisitions, the easy bit, getting them implemented and binding to the team that we have is the challenge. And then, yeah, I think that's the bit I love about my role, though, is the variety that it brings to it. I think you and I were discussing this earlier, that the variety we get in our role is incredible. we've both had job offers in the past, which they sound really cool and nice big salary at the bottom of the offer, but actually, does that job give you the variety that you have in your day-to-day work at the moment? Apart from 3 days in October 2020, when I wanted to pack it all in and quit and walk away, every single morning I wake up looking forward to work. Like, I enjoy my work. It's a passion. I've got lots of little projects on the go that I enjoy. That we're building an internal resource hub for our staff team at the moment. And I sat playing with that quite a lot over the weekend. I added 30 or 40 new pages to that over the weekend whilst watching TV. And for me, that's relaxing, that's chilled. My wife thinks I'm mad, but so yeah, it is the variety that I love about my job. And that's what comes with, so it's hard to boil down. These are what I do, but strategy, developing the team, making sure they've got the softwares and tools they need to do their job the best they can. That's why I go to accounting conferences and stuff. It is to build relationships with software providers. Whether that's an instant success of a software implementation or something that I come to in a year or two's time. Literally in the last week, we've decided to roll out a software that I first met a year ago. And it's like, I don't think it's going to work for us, but actually things have changed and now it will work for us. So yeah, it's a diverse and enjoyable role. So,
and that's
what about you, office?
Yeah, I'll definitely talk about it, but I think that's what brings you that opportunity to talk about it on LinkedIn and talk about it on YouTube and all the other social channels out there, isn't it? Because it's so varied, and that's why this podcast is going to be such, I think, a good opportunity to talk about it and let people know about how much of a job satisfaction we get from it. And it's not just because we're filing back returns, as I said before. It's because we're helping clients and have that opportunity. And the only way we can help clients, as you've already said, is building that team, building that resource and that solution to do it. So I'm looking forward to diving deeper into that kind of opportunity and resource. But when it comes to my job role, it's the same as yours. It's what hat I need to wear today sort of idea, isn't it? It's we go from spending our time making sure that we're growing the practice, which is always going to be a priority, because the more resources we have, the more good we can do and more force for good we can actually create. But also it's got to be about making sure that we're not only looking at growth, but making sure our team is supported and also our clients are supported as well. So every single day, as you've already said, it's just completely different. And that's got to be the best part about a role in in accountancy at the moment. It's gone are the days where you just sit there in front of a computer and just all you're doing is just churning out numbers. It's much more of an opportunity to be something different, isn't it? And I think the role of accountants and definitely it's the age-old story that we keep bringing up in time and time again in the doom and gloom of accounting at the moment is are we going to be relevant in 5 years time with technology and Quickbooks and everyone else trying to almost kill the bookkeeping role to a point? It's, do you either embrace that, which we're trying to do, and I know you as well, and trying to let's embrace that idea and let's bring that, but still feel relevant and still be relevant to clients going forward. And I think that's where we're in a really exciting time. And I think that's why there has been more uptake for the podcasts that are out there. And you've already said Digital Accounting World and Accrual World, sorry, and we've got all the other podcasts coming out and all the other social channels as well. And I think that's because there is a change, isn't there, in the world of accountancy, and it's for the good, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're very careful that when someone new starts, we don't just do what the old big firms used to do and probably still do, is right, you're going to sit in VAT return or debits and credit. You're going to sit in this cubicle for 12 months learning this one thing, and this is all you do. Like, payroll is all you do. We try and diversify it and give someone a taste of every aspect as quickly as reasonably possible, so they can decide actually which areas do I prefer, which ones don't I, and we kind of structure it around that. And that's because that is the accounting world. It's where it's going. It's diversity. Some of my favorite days are when I go out and meet clients and go and sit and have a coffee with them and go through their forecasts and stuff. It's giving every team member the opportunity to find what it is they love about their new role, basically. Whereas, yeah, as you said, historically, it's very pocketed. You do this, this is what you're doing, crack on with it. And if people then go, I don't like doing this is a bit repetitive, and then they leave the industry. And actually that's doing them and the industry a disservice, because we don't know, they could be an amazing payroll person, but they got lumped into VAT for the first year, and it's just not something that they enjoy.
Yeah, exactly right, and I think the industry is learning, but it's just that it's taking so long for the bigger players to actually get that conversation or get that opportunity and get that communication and that opportunity to tell people sooner. Because I was talking as part of the ISAW, part of the role I've got there now is part of small practice committee and helping small practices and everything. And as small practices, we are fighting the fight as much as we can and trying to find a way to make it so that county is more attractive to new people who come in through the doors. But then the bigger organizations aren't helping that cause at all. They're still kind of going through their older, more traditional, more, and I know it's worked for them for years and years and years, and they're hoping it's going to continue. But the days of having that, like you said, that pigeonhole thing has got to come to an end for us to really help the industry go forward. And I think that's something we're definitely both of us quite passionate about, isn't it? Is about making it so that more people come into the industry, and it gives us the opportunity to have more kind of varied people for it as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of getting our chance to talk about that in more detail, and getting us our chance to as it evolves, to bring more elements to it as well. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we can prove to everyone that it's more attractive. Gone are the days when it comes to talking to clients. You said there about sitting in a cafe and talking to them about cash flow and everything else. But I remember my first kind of conversations with clients were literally just, here's a VAT return, and it's going to be this figure. Are you happy with it? Sort of idea. But now, yes, I've kind of progressed in my career, and I've got more opportunities now, and I've got, I have to have a more varied role. But even I'm encouraging my clients, like, there's more to talk about. There's, we have the chance. We are, without blowing our own trumpets in the accounting world, we are one of the best, or if not the best, business advisors in the world. We see so much of a client, and when we see so much of other clients, it gives us that opportunity to talk about it. Even if it's something simple as, if you change your EPOS system from this to this, you're going to have much better chance and a much better opportunity to get new data and get more information, and maybe even speed up your process or whatever it's going to be. And now that's becomes part of what the accountant's role is, isn't it? It's spotting those, it's problem solving. And I think that, like you've already said, that's that job satisfaction, that's that varied role that makes it so much more exciting than it's ever been before.
Definitely. Yep.
And it's all software based, and that's where we and hardware based is where we love as well.
Have a new toy.
Exactly. Nothing better, is there, when it turns up. I suppose the other thing that I've got written here is about the times we've worked together. So we've had a couple of opportunities to work as one another. So we kind of prove that we can talk, even though, we're 40 minutes in for a half an hour podcast, and we're not doing too bad, are we? But those times we work together, though, do you want to kind of give us a bit of a breakdown of what it is and how they've gone together?
Yeah, I think the biggest project we've done together is the Quickbooks Ask the Expert. That was a real regular thing for us, wasn't it? And we did a few different webinars and stuff on the back of that for QuickBooks as well. And we've got a lot of similar traits, experiences, interests and stuff, and it's worked really well in the past. We're quite happy to go out for a pint together and going to different conferences and stuff, and we've got very similar viewpoints on those, but then it's interesting to hear it from someone else's perception. So yeah, we could probably sit here for a few more hours talking about stuff, but we'll save that for future podcasts.
Definitely. And I think that's the bit that I'm really excited about in terms of, what this podcast can bring. Because, the conferencing world for accountants can be a bit of a lonely place if you're not careful, especially if you're a sole practitioner and everything. But if we can kind of put together a bit of an opportunity for the community to go together and feel like there's more like-minded people there, I think that's tick done, or to want to a better, for most part, that's we've achieved what we want to achieve. And I think then it gives us an opportunity to reflect on it as well, and get people's opinions and figure out what it is. Last Accountex we were at, all of the conversation chatter and everything else was recent acquisitions, wasn't it? And who's buying this out, and certain features had stopped, and and weren't coming in anymore. And I think having the opportunity to talk about that in a format would have been really useful. I think that's where this has kind of come from. And we're going to make sure we do some live ones, and if the tech can work, let's be in the in the pub afterwards and talk about and try and get the people there and then, and let's get those hot takes and bring them in. So that's where we see this to be, and almost like little specials that we'll do from time to time with Ask the Accountant, and have that opportunity to bring it in. I think that's going to be something where it should also make it so that it's again, let's make it so that these sort of events become more attractive for people to come to, because hopefully they can see that this is what we've gained out of it, and that's what you could gain out of it as well.
Yeah, Ask the Accountant might become Ask the Tipsy Accountant once or twice, but yeah, and that's where we get all our information. Like tomorrow night, I'm going to be at John Toon's event. So John Toon is one of the hosts of the Tools for an Accrual World podcast, and he's got 40 people going to an axe throwing competition to network and to get to talk softwares and acquisitions, and just to build those relationships in the industry. And I think that's just so important that we are able to do that in a more informal, relaxed and natural environment. So yeah, things like that are just what are changing our industry. And I don't think outside of the industry, or even for a majority of the industry, they realize that that's actually happening.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's going to really play a part in how we're going to go forward, as we've already kind of alluded to, like the idea that we need to be more of a business advisory. Well, we're only going to get that by experience, isn't it? By talking to these vendors, by talking to other accountants, by talking to other, businesses and everything else. And I think we need to have that newer approach, and without it, then we're going to struggle to kind of make it up and become and have that, have that opportunity in going forward. So I think that's a bit of a good kind of place to kind of come to an end in terms of what we think this podcast is going to be, and hopefully that's enough for people to get on board and to kind of see that is something to worthwhile. And our ultimate aim is to make sure that we become something that becomes in part of your rotation on a weekly basis. So hopefully that's put there. But I've got some kind of a few little final parts to kind of go with, and that's a couple of questions. So this first one is, how would you describe your role to a 5-year-old? If you had the opportunity now, we've already gone through how varied it is, but if you were going to explain it in the simplest terms, how would you do it?
I help business owners to run their business. There we go. Because that's what it boils down to. In one way or another, everyone in my team is helping a business owner to run their business.
And the important thing there is, not once did you mention VAT, tax, or anything else. Let's not go into all that. Like that, and I think that is where ultimately we want to be pushing. We're trying to make it so accountants are still relevant, so clients still want to actually pay for an accountant. And at the end of the day, doesn't matter what accounting firm they go to, the VAT returns and everything else should just happen. Like if there's any problems with that, that's the problem with the industry, isn't it? That should just be a given. It's those extra bits, like you just said, about helping them build a business and everything else. So yeah. And then final part for me is, what is the most satisfying part of your role? What is it that makes you like the one thing that you keep going back to?
I think I've got two, because I'm greedy. One is watching my team grow and develop. I've got an amazing team around me who, Jade, for example, joined us as a bookkeeper 4 years ago. She now heads up our bookkeeping and accounting side of things. To watch her grow, to watch Scott grow, all my team grow and develop into the people that they're becoming, and the key roles that they're taking up in the company is fantastic. That's really rewarding as a leader to see that. But also things like, not one of our clients went bust during COVID because of the work we put in and support and advice we gave them. Like, not everyone can claim that. And to see our clients thrive and succeed mainly on their own prerogative, don't get me wrong, but to know that we've had some small part in that is really rewarding as well.
Yeah, and I think for you, one of the quotes I've always kind of fall back to you is you've never been shy to say, like, you've always wanted to make sure that you've got better people around you, haven't you? You know, at whatever it's going to be. Like you're never going to sit there saying I am the best at this and everyone follow my lead. It's right. You need someone better at X and better at Y, and that's how your business is going to keep growing and everything else. I think that's something that's really important for people to grasp.
I think, yeah, definitely. I mean, there's not one person in my team that's not better at something than me. You know, that we've got better VAT people, better payroll people, better accounts, better tax. It's, yeah, they're all better at it than I am. So, and that's what's important, is that you are self-aware enough to know what you can and can't achieve yourself, and you bring in the experts around you to make the rest of the company's strengths there where your strengths aren't.
Awesome. And I think, you know, just having someone say that out loud is so important. I think that's definitely where people can kind of take gratitude with it, and also gives them that confidence as well. Because I think a lot of people, if you are looking to kind of build your own practice or things from there, the fear factor is always, am I good enough? Or, you know, do I know this and and you're never ever going to be at a position where you are perfect in every way and ready to take that jump. You've just got to, you know, have that confidence to be able to know what your limits are, and then be able to find ways to fill the gaps that you may have. So yeah, it's really important, because if both of us had that fear factor, we probably wouldn't be here today, would we? It's
not at all.
Brilliant. All right, well, I think that, you know, for a pilot episode, I think we've done well. We've hopefully, you know, without trying to brag, we've hopefully bigged ourselves up enough to people to be invested and to have that opportunity to
Do you want to answer Sam's question that's come in about using QuickBooks Self-Employed? We've got a live question. Here we go.
Okay, do you want to go for it?
Yeah, I'll read it. You can answer it. Mr. QuickBooks chap. When using QuickBooks Self-Employed, what expense category should you use for the fees eBay deduct from your sale? Now, as the QuickBooks chap and an eBay seller yourself, you must know this one straight away.
And it's one of my most common questions we get asked on a regular basis. So for everyone, just a good bit of context here, because it's QuickBooks Self-Employed and not the full-blown QuickBooks Online, that means you are a bit restricted into what is you can and can't do with self-employed. Self-employed is a topic we will bring up time and time again. I'm sure we will, but it has its warts and all. Let's put it that way. So most of the answers here would be to put it to your bank charges, because it's always been a bit of a third-party fee that you want to put there. And the idea here is you want to gross up that income so that you're showing that you did sell your trainers for £50 and not £45 that arrived in your bank account. So the idea there is to put it there. Now, the problem with QuickBooks Self-Employed, which is a bit of a quirk, is that it will actually restrict your bank fees and bank charges when it comes to doing your final tax return. So you just need to keep an eye on that. And if it starts restricting it, then that's when you really want to be putting it to somewhere else. Now, there are very limited options to put it in there, but as long as you have the expense shown and the income bringing in, then you're going to be absolutely fine. So we've got clients putting it to post and stationery of all places. We've got clients putting it to purchasers, and, you know, there is no right or wrong answer. Just make sure that if you do put it to bank charges where we would normally put it, that it's not being restricted, and you should be absolutely fine. So yeah, just keep an eye on what quirky bits that QuickBooks is doing, and you should be fine. But that is a great example of questions that we can sort out live, get people moving on, get people onto the right software, you know. And my final tip for there is have a look at maybe looking at QuickBooks Online. That way you can actually attach eBay directly to QuickBooks, and gives you an opportunity to make it even easier on yourself going forward. So yeah, many thanks to everyone who has commented on here. We've got socks and toilets is the diversity of life from Tony. So yeah, thank you for that one. And definitely reference to how the Mr. LinkedIn himself has gained popularity from the socks chat. And tune in next week for more sock chat on 8:30.
I'll be locked next week after the conference this week.
That's it. We could see which and there's a thing for everyone, which vendor out there can get Johann the best socks this year, like, you know,
or just the best swag in general.
Yeah
I do definitely like a good gilet. I've got a QuickBooks and espresso machine already, but yeah, that's it. Who's going to have the best swag at Accountex Manchester? That's the question.
That could be it. That's it. We'll do a league table at the end of this, and we'll see exactly who comes out on top. All right. Well, I think with that, that's the end of the pilot episode. Obviously, the main things for everyone to take away from this is that we will be making sure this podcast is out on a Wednesday. I think we're making it live on 5 o'clock or something, 5 a.m. So you should definitely have it ready for your dog walk or your commute each and every Wednesday. And then if you do want to, you have the opportunity to come and join us live on the social media channel of your choice. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitch, we're on YouTube, we're on LinkedIn. And I'm sure there'll be more to come as well in terms of where we are live. So, have the opportunity to come in, grab a coffee, come and talk to us, and keep us honest, because that's what this is going to be all about. Johann, what have you got planned for this week? Any kind of thing you want to plug or any look out for?
No, literally my week this week is working with the team today. I have lots of team meetings on a Monday to kickstart the week for them. Tomorrow I am down to Manchester, axe throwing competition tomorrow night, and then Accountex North or Manchester. Accountex Manchester as it's now called, I think.
Oh, they've changed it from the north, have they?
Yeah, that one. Manchester's not very north when you talk to people like myself in Edinburgh. So yeah, Accountex Manchester on Wednesday, travel back Thursday, and I think I've already got a few meetings booked in for Friday already. When they are, I don't know, but they'll be dotted around me assessing the swag from Accountex Manchester.
Love it. And then for me, I hopefully at the ITAW Small Practice Conference tomorrow, as long as I haven't got the logistics out of the wrong, because I've also got a very, very packed schedule tomorrow as well. So trying to get myself down to London. Then I'll be up into Manchester as well. I'll be there at Accountex as well. So if you do see me or Johann, just say hi. Let's make sure you don't be shy, especially these sort of events when if you've gone by yourself, it's always a little bit daunting, isn't it, when you're walking around there. So don't be shy. Just shout out to us, and I'm sure we'll be able to push you in the right direction of where the best swag is, at least. I think that's one thing we'll definitely be able to do for you. Although we keep bringing this conversation up, but I don't think there is any kind of after party such as there, but I'm sure we'll
so there's drinks at the event between 5 and 7, and then Iris are doing a pub quiz. And to be fair to Iris, they have got a very nice engraved Iris pub quiz trophy beer glass.
Okay.
Which is up for grabs for the winning team. So that's as far as I'm aware for the after parties at Accountex.
Okay, because, so maybe we have to take this serious then. Maybe that should be
yeah, because these conferences are great, but it's the before parties and after parties that make it. I mean, what we've had Chris Moyles was at the Iris party in London. It's always a good after party normally after these things.
Yeah,
not exactly. That that's what we're there for.
No. We're definitely there for the swag. No, I mean to talk to the
high quality content from the seminars.
Yeah, that's the one. That's it. That's exactly what we're there for. So we'll be in Manchester. Looking forward to it, and that's what we'll make sure next week is all about. Let's have some context into what we learned from Accountex North or Manchester or whatever we can do, and what the rest of the conference season looks like as well. We'll make sure we talk about that next season, because there is still some more to come, isn't there? It's, there's not that long left of this year, but we still have some more to look forward to.
Accounting Web Live at the end of November in Coventry, is that one?
Yeah. Birmingham, but Coventry, isn't it, officially?
So we'll be down at that, and then it kicks off again next year. Now, I don't know if they've made this public, but a employee of QuickBooks stated the date on my LinkedIn feed yesterday, so I'm going to talk about it. But QuickBooks Connect will be in London in person on the 7th of March next year. So that is as public knowledge now. It's on my LinkedIn feed.
We're finally allowed to tell everyone. They've been one of those ones where we've had to keep our mouth stum. But yeah, we're looking forward to that. And there's also the live or the QuickBooks Connect as well this month as well, isn't there? So we'll make sure.
QuickBooks Connect online.
Yeah, although we'll probably talk about it more in QuickBooks Labs, but we'll one way or another, we'll make sure the content's out there. So a big thank you to everyone who has joined us live today. It's great to see you all nice and early in the morning. Hopefully you got some coffee down you, and we will obviously be seeing you next week as well. So with that, it's a goodbye from me.
And a goodbye from me.
Fantastic. We'll see you all next time. Cheers all.
Thanks,